right?
I do you one even better, humble that. I do you one even better.
Go ahead,
right?
Trill.
This is what you could ask them.
Miss
You
Lane.
could ask 10 people what percentage of your relationships ended with cheating,
Yes.
whether you did it or they did it.
Yes.
And I guarantee you, like I said, the number that I've said about 8 to 9 times tonight, it's going to be about 70 or above of a percentage. If you say what percentage of all the relationships that you've been in specifically, what percentage of those relationships did cheating happen? And I guarantee you that they're going to say 75 or above. I guarantee you. I'll bet everything in my account on it. As a matter of fact,
you don't have to. I already looked it up, man. So the BBC did a report back in 2019. 75% of men and 68% of women admitted to cheating in some way in their history.
Thank you.
And it came from the Sage Journals. The Sage Journals ran the study. So basically, 7 out of 10 men,
Right.
7.5 out of 10 men. Not in their current relationship. See, a lot of people talk about in their current relationships. That's where the numbers drop heavily. It's like 20-something%, whatever. But people, when you talk historically, have you ever cheated? 75% of men have cheated.
They're more likely to lie about their current relationship, though.
Yeah,
but
exactly. That's why that number is low.
Look, y'all, who gives a damn?
So then why be in a relationship?
Hold on. I'm very confused by how y'all grown ass men are sitting up here arguing about statistics. Who cares? This is King Talk. All right, this is King Talk. Who gives a shit? So let me add something.
You don't understand it.
Let me add something to the audience where they can learn from instead of some damn numbers. Nobody cares. All right. So when you're dating a person, male or female, you ask that person in the early times of you dating, what is your go-to coping mechanism? If you get stressed out, upset, frustrated, lose your job, I do something to you, what is your go-to coping mechanism? Some people may say, I'm gonna leave. Some people say, I'm gonna get quiet. Some people say, I'm gonna go talk to my mama. Some people you're gonna find out their go-to coping mechanisms. Now, they're not just gonna jump up and say, I will cheat, but then you can go down the rabbit hole and say, have you ever cheated in a relationship in the past? And if they admit and say yes, now you can go back to what they said, what their go-to coping mechanism, and catch them, 2 different conversations, 2 different times, and say, oh, okay, so what made you cheat? Well, they weren't doing this and they weren't doing that. Gotcha, bitch.
You can't expect me to take it seriously.
Let's let go. That will not work because they gonna lie on both.
I mean,
I'm
sitting here
like most people. If you on a date with most people and you ask them, "Hey, have you ever cheated in your?" They gonna say no. They gonna say I done been cheated on. Yes. And then if you ask them what their coping mechanism is, they gonna tell you what they think you want to hear. Nobody ain't gonna keep it that real, especially on early day. Come on, Mr. Lego, you know better.
Now, Trill. Hold on. It's not about that though. Hold on, Triggermine. It's not about that though. It's about getting to know whether they're lying or not when something happens. Because if you say what's your go-to coping mechanism, and they say run or they say get quiet, they're not gonna say cheat, of course. But once something happens and you actually see them act that way, you'll be able to like, oh shit. They're trying to cope with something. And if I allow them to keep going down this coping mechanism rabbit hole, they may cheat. And we mainly talk about men cheating, all right? Because, of course, ladies, y'all don't never cheat, okay, y'all perfect or whatever. We're talking about men cheating. So the bottom line is I'm telling to women that when a man gets to a point where he has to start coping with something in his life, is a good probability that his go-to coping mechanism is bitches. So keep that in mind. And if you have this conversation with him, we're not talking about women, him, because if you ask a man, has he ever cheated? He's gonna say, yeah, I cheated before. So I'm mainly talking to the women and in conversations with men. Women gonna be like, oh, I never cheated, I never did. A man is gonna be like, yeah, I cheated before. And any man that says he never cheated, most likely he's lying. So yeah, we did before, but this way you can get an understanding of how he copes with problems. That's all I'm saying. Something helpful instead
What
of.
about Anton Daniels? He gonna say he ain't never cheated.
I'm just saying,
I don't know, bro. It just sounds a lot like a job interview, bro. I mean, it's just like a job interview, and that motherfucker asks you, "Hey, man, what's your weakness? If you had to give yourself a weakness, what would it be?" You ain't gonna say, "Well, hey, man, I show up late 80% of the time."
Trill.
Or,
I
work with others. What you
Trill,
gonna
what's your go-to coping mechanism?
What you gonna say?
Your go-to coping mechanism, Trill?
I feel like I just work too hard sometimes. I feel like it's really hard for me to like let go.
Overwork.
What is your go-to coping mechanism, Trill?
I'm just a workaholic.
What's your go-to coping mechanism?
Bro. That's why motherfuckers gonna lie, bro.
What is your go-to coping mechanism, Trill?
Introspection.
Okay, I'm done.
Wouldn't it be you know you gonna have to tell Mr. Lego what that mean? That boy said, "I'm done."
Pornhub.
Introspection. Okay.
No, really. Because, but again,
we all got coping mechanisms.
That's me being bluntly honest. My coping mechanism with anything, especially traumatic things, are introspection.
Okay.
But again, what does me telling you that? What can you do with that information? You can't do that. That does not necessarily paint me as a cheater. Or let's just say that I said, you know what? My coping mechanism is sometimes I just like to just distance myself. I just like to beat on myself and just process everything that's going on. That does not say that I'm a cheater, especially if we talking about something traumatic that happened to me. If my coping mechanism is to kind of get away from the situation and think through it, what can you take from that that's going to indicate cheating?
Call of Duty.
If a man withdraws, depending on who he is, there's a possibility that his way of withdrawing is another chick. Is all I'm saying.
You're right.
That's your coping mechanism.
No, okay, well, you're right, but that's what I'm saying is that
we don't withdraw and just go into a corner and cry.
That's all I'm saying.
We're not going to withdraw and go in a corner and cry. We're going to withdraw and find something to do as we're withdrawing. I'm just saying. And sometimes it has something to do with some draws.
You're right.
That's
you. I'm not denying the possibility, but what I'm saying is you can't take that responsibility like I'm a cheater. You can't do that. Because again, his way of reserve, because a lot of dudes handle things different ways. It's a lot of dudes I know go through situations within a relationship and they lock head first in on their work. They don't want to do nothing else but work, or they don't want to do nothing else but play the game or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
That means he won't cheat because that's his coping mechanism. Playing the game, working hard. Most likely those are his coping mechanisms. He's not going to feel the need to cheat because his coping mechanism is actually working or playing video games. That's an example.
I'm gonna let you have it. We got to agree to disagree. I'm gonna let you have it.
Would it be fair to say that, obviously, like what we speculated and what the numbers that Shane has shared pretty much go closely hand in hand? I just think that the reality of the matter is that today there are so many temptations everywhere. I mean, if you stop and look at people who do go to the gym, and we'll use that example, there's a burger spot right next door. And they do that deliberately because they know that you finish working out and you're possibly going to be hungry and the flesh is weak. So you're going to go over there and get a burger with the big fries and the big Coke.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right? They sell you cars that do 135 miles per hour, but yet the speed limit is 55. You know why that is? Because they know that temptation is always there. You know what I'm saying? We're all tempted at some level. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be every single day. It could just catch you on an off day. You could have a consistent week. In that small moment, that small window, that cheek in the armor, that's when temptation will seep in. But at that point, you got to stop and ask yourself, how strong is your discernment? How strong is your willpower? Right? That comes down to you. You know what I'm saying? Because
Luis, just real quick, bro. I don't even mean to sidetrack you, but if it was 10 dudes that was in that situation, they done been consistent. You know what I'm saying? The whole time. But that one moment of temptation just super, super, super heavy. I'm talking about the availability is right there. The girl laid on the bed, legs all tight. Like it's right there to fall into. If it's 10 dudes, how many of those dudes are gonna stand on their morals and say, nah, I'm good?
And they in Vegas.
What was that last part, Shane?
They in Vegas.
Oh,
nobody gonna
Vegas?
Know.
Shit.
You might as well throw that Bible.
You already knew when he said shit.
I mean, I agree because, like, I think then that number goes from 90 to 95. You know, because if nobody's looking, then obviously it's the thrill of it. I think that people understand that thrill, that rush, the adrenaline of being on the edge of doing it but not doing it, right? There are people who have secret relationships with people, build up this entire climax, and then get to that moment of about going through with it, and then they stop themselves. You know, it's that build up to it, but something stops them. And I think that boils down to like your programming. I think that boils down to your programming. If you've always been that person, and then all of a sudden you're going to hit a switch, and overnight you're going to change your life, and I'm going to be consistent. You're consistent for 6 months. 6 months is not going to override many of years of the same type of behavior. You know what I'm saying? All this bad programming over the years, 6 months isn't going to do anything for you. That journey has to keep going much longer. That's why I said that temptation is everywhere and the flesh is weak.
So we telling, since it's the topic, are we saying that you might as well not be in a relationship? Since more than likely you're gonna get cheated on? Is that what y'all saying?
That can't be.
No, we're saying
we the ones who gonna cheat, not them. We gonna cheat.
No, we're not saying that. We're saying that if you're gonna get in a relationship, you need to incorporate the ability to de-escalate when you get into situations and someone may go off path. You and your partner gotta have the ability to de-escalate the situation so nothing severe like that take place.
Agreed.
I'm telling people that it's a high probability that is gonna happen. But
I would say
all you can do is do your job and control what you can control. Because if people say, well, damn, what's the point of even getting in a relationship?
That's what I'm
the same reason people go to the convenience store and buy a lottery ticket every Saturday. You know the probability is low of you hitting the motherfucker, but you still gonna go there and spend that $5. Yeah, let me get 5, get 2 scratch offs. Let me get just for that possibility that you might get it right. That's how alluring that a successful relationship is. You will go against the fucking odds to try to find that one, because when you do find her, it's amazing.
It's
gorgeous. Y'all bond and that chemistry is good. Like, it's amazing. But the probability of it happening. That's all I'm saying.
I think that idea of that relationship is almost impossible. I think that idea of the type of relationship you're talking about is like an ideal. And I feel as though we've gotten to a point in society where we've made this ideal become like a standard that we have for the norm. So the fact that fidelity is even expected in relationships, I think is highly unrealistic. I mean, just the percentage of people cheating should show you that it's more likely that you'll get cheated on or cheat than you'll actually have a successful monogamous relationship. So I feel like we might even have to, as a whole, readjust the idea of even being monogamous to begin with, because it doesn't fit. It clearly doesn't work. And I don't think that people who can't do it aren't disciplined. It's just that the people who can't do it are more functioning in accordance with their nature, because it's not our nature to be monogamous.
So the bottom line is we can lose weight if we cheat and eat some cake every now and then. You still can lose weight. You can still can have a great relationship or marriage if the dude slips up and cheats. Like, you gotta put things in perspective and context. Just because a person cheats does not mean the marriage or relationship is over. Because the thing about it is, this is what's sad. This is what's sad. And this is what women have to deal with. All right. Women have to deal with this one thing. Either stay with a man that may potentially cheat on you and he takes care of you and everything is going great until he cheats on you or whatever and y'all figure it out. Or either stay by yourself. Because the next man, not saying he will, but he has the same probability of cheating on you as the person before you, because this is just what life is. Now, there are some men that are never going to cheat on you, but probability wise, that is close to like 2-3%. So
you're saying that most dudes don't respect themselves or women?
Well, that's the way you see it, Humble Dad. Other people don't see it. I'm disrespecting myself by cheating or doing this.
Well, that's not my problem that you don't see it that way, but that's what it is.
No, you said it. That's the way you see it. Is all.
You see withholding as respecting yourself.
Oh,
that's based off of your ideology.
Humble Dad got a point though. Hold on, Humble Dad got a point.
On the ideology.
Listen, we already know what's the definition of cheating. You had a goal and you didn't get it. Okay, you took other means to get it done, right? That says something about you and your character.
Normal.
So example, we talking about sports, right? Right.
And they cheat in sports every time.
Right. And that's low character of a person that cheats. Is it not?
The team that wins the Super Bowl.
You didn't answer my question though.
No.
Answer my question.
But the question is, can you win without cheating?
Don't give me no example though.
Sports. They say if you ain't cheating, you ain't winning.
Okay. So is that low character
line holds on every play?
No. But wait, because Humble Dad got a point. He said, "Does that say low character?" I would say yes, but then I would return the question: when do they take the trophy back?
No,
it depends.
They don't.
Okay, well, Tom Brady is a walking example. They caught him flattening balls. They caught him recording motherfuckers on the side and all types of shit.
Right,
he still got seven Super Bowls.
Yeah,
and I will cheat to win a Super Bowl.
But we don't look at him as a high character.
Who cares?
Who don't?
Hold that.
Why would you consider if you know somebody?
Tom Brady won the Super Bowl.
You the dude that don't trust most people, right?
Right.
So you telling me that you would see this dude as high character in your group when he cheats?
No. See, Humble Dad, see that right there. You're very good at sliding goalposts. I didn't say me.
I don't.
We talking about how is Tom Brady looked at by the majority of football fans as the GOAT?
And we already know, and I'm gonna use your statement. Most people are sheep, and we said that.
I agree with that.
Okay, so therefore,
I'm not gonna contradict my own statements.
I listen to you, bro. You know
but again, all I'm saying is that Tom Brady is on vacation right now with all 7 of them rings he won and still being considered the GOAT. So at the end of the day, it depends on what means more to you. Does it mean more to have that integrity and not get there, or do what it takes to get there? And I retire as the GOAT with my 7 rings and millions of dollars.
Guys, finish last.
Because the Falcons have all the integrity in the world, ain't never won no Super Bowl. I don't want to be no damn Falcon.
So you said no? I was just saying that you're telling women that 90% of dudes are gonna cheat on you,
and that's true. We just came to a consensus that is true.
And so I would say
statistics conversation.
Okay, guys.
So let me say
90% of men have low character.
Let me add one thing.
I don't think it's low character to not be able to reach a height that's not realistic.
Have low character.
That has nothing to do with character. That has to do with the fact that the bar that we're setting isn't realistic to begin with. To expect monogamy from a man is not a realistic bar. So you should absolutely praise the men that can do it for doing something that's astronomically difficult, but you shouldn't shame men for not being monogamous, because that is not our nature. That's why it's a virtue. All of the things that we consider virtues as human beings are things that are difficult to do, things that go beyond our nature. So to say that people have low character for not being able to go beyond their nature is not realistic. You might have great strength, but that doesn't mean that other person lacks it. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly
it's not about, listen, it's not about being shamed for monogamy. It's about being shamed for not appreciating the hard work you put in the relationship, knowing that if you do deviate, from being loyal or, you know what I'm saying, or exclusive. And you know the risk that lies. If you yourself is included in the probability of cheating, then you are part of the mass that are willing to risk it all. Men who are able to weigh the outcomes of these situations and actually appreciate the hard work they put in their relationship are excluded from the probability. So let's get that clear. So if you're cheating,
you can appreciate the hard work.
You can now self-assess. You can self-assess what you built on whether it's fragile or strong, and whether it's worth you losing it all over something.
So let me ask you something. If you make that assessment of whether it's fragile or strong, and then you make the assessment that it's fragile, and then decide to cheat, is that now you making a smarter decision, or is that still a lapse of character?
It's a dumb decision. If you know you got a fragile relationship, then if you know that it's fragile, then you know what it's missing. Which means that
what I'm saying is, if somebody cheats on a relationship that's fragile, where they're not getting the appreciation you were talking about, and the relationship is fragile, then is that them really being weak, or is that just them exercising options because they don't have the relationship they want?
Weak because you limited yourself to only one outcome.
No, you're limiting yourself to only one outcome by staying faithful, technically,
or your marriage, or you can go and bust it down. There's so many ways, bro. There's no one way to do things.
Look, this
you didn't build your relationship in your family. Right? You use many tools and many avenues of approach to get it to where you got it. So there's never one outcome.
This is the bottom line. Whether it's come to losing weight, that's
damn.
That was interesting.
What happened
there? He spoke too soon on the shit I was thinking. I just picked some real shit, so he had to go.
Cloud is saying, well, man, Cloud is saying, I understand where he's coming from, because what he's saying is that when we measuring people's character and all of that kind of stuff, it's difficult to do when you're asking a tiger to change his stripes. And so I think what we're trying to tell you, Clout, is though, and this is what we're trying to convince men to do now is, well, don't say that you are a giraffe and you really
that's a fact.
Yes.
Rhino.
That's fair.
Yes.
And that's where the low character part comes in. I get it. You're saying, listen, man, a man is a man. This is what we've been doing thousands of years, and it's only in the last 100 years that we've normalized this whole monogamy thing. And wedding ring was invented by De Beers after the turn of the last century, and that shit is new. Dating is new. Men didn't take women on dates. They wouldn't ask the man, "Can I marry your daughter?" They did it just like they saw it in Color Purple. And I need a wife at home. All this courting and shit is new. I hear what you're saying, Clout. But what I think the brothers is saying is the low character part is not necessarily saying you not being who you are. It's saying no. I think what the brothers are saying is when you claim that you're going to do one thing and you do something else, even if it's natural for you,
right?
That's the low character part.
I think
an asshole.
I agree with that.
You are an asshole if you say that you're going to be this virtuous man, and I do, and you get on bended knee and you're doing all this extra shit, and then you turn around and you fucking your neighbor. That's the low. If you gonna fuck your neighbor, keep it 100 from the beginning. Tell these women the truth from the beginning and let the chips fall where they may. If you can't do that, then that is the low character part of you.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but most men are not going to do that, though.
Yo, I want to say the focus is, first of all, I love
because
what
most men are not
saying.
versatile.
Like, I love what everyone's saying. Like, everyone's like saying a good take, and it's coming from a pure place. One thing that I noticed is that we focus on the symptoms, y'all. Like, we're focusing on the symptom. Cheating is a symptom. It's just a symptom. Just like obesity is a symptom. Like, what's the real root of it? What's the real cause? The food that we're eating. Right. So when it comes to the relationships, the way that we choose and the way that we approach relationships, that should change. Just like we're talking about monogamy, being polygamous or whatever. Like, the thing is this, that we take a person and we go, hey, yo, I want to marry you. And then we call each other boyfriend, girlfriend. And then we operate from that space without even getting to know that person. Maybe a better approach might cause better results. Maybe taking time to get to know somebody, becoming somebody's best friend, maybe might create something different. Right. Because half of the time we don't know the person truly that we're getting involved with. And maybe 6 months later, that person changes, because guess what? When most people meet, they bring their representatives to the table. Like when you meet, you go out and you hang out with somebody, you get to know someone, they're bringing a representative. You might bring it too. So now later on, 6 months later, you start to get comfortable. Now you sharing yourself with that person truly. And now that person feels tricked because that's not who they fell in love with. Right. So then we get out of alignment. Most people would tell you that. Some girls would say, yeah, I don't feel comfortable being myself yet. So when are you going to feel comfortable? Right. At a certain time. And I think it's the approach, man. And at the end of the day, like just like doctors, they don't really focus on the solution at the core. They focus on treatment. They focus on the symptoms and they treat that. But what about us? I think we need to develop more as people. I think personal development should be first, but sex is first, right? And then we try to jump into these relationships and we're not healed. We try to jump into relationships and we're not the people that we want to be. So then we get all of these different emotions because we get bothered by certain people's actions. But at the end of the day, it comes down to discipline, consistency, respect. Do you respect yourself? Do you respect your word? Are you disciplined for what you ask for? Just like someone mentioned, you want to claim you're a giraffe, but you're really a rhino. Like, be real about who you are. And at the end of the day, I think this is all subjective, because you can ask a pool of people who've never been cheated on, and they would say, yeah, I've never been cheated on. Right. And but I get it. It's like what someone else said, I think it was Bruiser. It's the pop culture that's feeding us the programming, because what you tune into, you turn into. We watch these shows, you know, I don't watch them, but you listen to music and it's all in the music, right? When a guy hears rap music, that guy wants to now take on that character, become that artist and see themselves with multiple women. Right. So now they go out and live that. Same thing with women, right? Now they got the city girls. I'm empowering myself by showing my body, but not realizing they're losing more respect by the men by doing that. So once again, it's about what you tune into, you turn into. But at the end of the day, it's all subjective and it's all relative to whoever's culture and environment. And I believe that we can do a lot better if we actually work on ourselves and kind of communicate with each other authentically and real. But who's going to do it? I'm going to do it. I'll step up and I'll be that person.
A University of Connecticut study shows that 8 out of 10 people who cheated knew each other well over 10 years. So these people were well vetted and knew each other very well, and they still cheated. So typically, what the longer you know somebody and the more well vetted, the more comfortable you are stepping out of them.
So basically, everybody ain't shit. That's what you're saying.
I want to respond to that real quick. I want to respond to that because I understand that ideology, but that wasn't the logic that I was presenting, right? Because what I was referring to is like getting to a point where you become that person's best friend, and inside of you, you feel like you don't want to be with anyone else. It doesn't mean that you won't cheat. It doesn't mean that you will. But the point is, you got to be man enough or woman enough to stand on your integrity and your morals and the things that you set forth. If you create a relationship with someone and that person is expecting you to uphold this standard, we can't just be like, that's the norm for you just to be a person that falls out of integrity, right? Because the word is what creates everything, right? So at the end of the day, I understand that you could be with somebody for 10 years, but at the end of the day, that particular relationship could have been started on the same thing where those two individuals brought their representatives and neither one of them were authentic. So it's all subjective and it's going to go a million ways because we're all different. But everybody here is making great points and I'm loving the conversation. Everybody here is amazing.